Hi. Hi, Abiwa. How are you? Today was a momentous day. It is June 24th. I'm not mistaken. One thing that will definitely mark this day is that this is the day that the abortion law was changed. Yes. Well, I realized I have a little history that I could share that might be interesting. It was perhaps the early 60s, and it's quite all right to date myself. Seven decades has already been put forward as, as a marker for how long I've been alive. Excuse me, just a little bit of the COVID left. Sorry. And so I left my small town home and I ventured to college, Howard University, as a matter of fact. And when I got there, I lived in a dorm, and the dorm was supervised very closely, the security, and we as freshmen had curfews. So they had this long, long hall with all these couches on it, and you could have an opportunity to have a guest, and you would sit on the couch with your guest, and there would be a chaperone that would walk up and down, the house mother, and at 11 o'clock, the young man or that was visiting you, was of course, in a girls' dorm, had to leave. And that was my freshman year. Something changed, and by the end of my freshman year, we no longer had curfews. We no longer had limited access to, um, you know, interacting with young men in our dorms. By the next year, we were literally living in the same dorm with them in a hotel that the university had secured. And by that time, all my friends were talking about a particular um, company that was inviting college students to come in and be checked, you know, for whether or not their reproductive health was in place. And they were delighted to discover that birth control pills were being dispensed freely, freely, and abortions were available. So I had firsthand experience of what it was like to live in a world that you could not have an abortion or that an abortion was prohibited by law. I observed the interactions of people with their family members trying to decide if they were going to have an abortion or not. Because in those days, my mama, my daddy, my baby's daddy, excuse me, in those days, my baby daddy was not an acceptable or even a imaginable reality in the homes of most, African American people. I think we were called Negroes then. Yep, and that was right after they had stopped calling us coloreds, and that was right after they had stopped calling us the N word. So I just wanted to reflect on what it was like for me to experience that, to experience the freedom of young women to have the option to make decisions and with dignity and safety and still traumatized. Um, Having an abortion is, in all likelihood, not a fun thing. You know, I've been very close to people who have experienced it. Um, Having a child inside of you, and you know, having to consider the life of the child in your life, because of course, if you can have free birth control pills, it means you have tremendous leeway in terms of what you're going to do. You go out, you meet somebody, you know, you go out, you meet somebody, you go out, you meet somebody, you go out, you meet somebody, you go out, you meet somebody. And young ladies that were doing that were having abortions just like that too. Abortion had become like a form of birth control in a sense, you know? So here we are now in this shocking period of time, totally disorienting. Everything that has become normal and supportive of women having the right to choose. You know, having the right to choose was a wonderful thing for all of us. I mean, to know that you could choose and not put your life in jeopardy. I had friends in college who did, before abortions became legal, did put their lives in jeopardy. I mean, you would find them in their beds. Everybody was concerned about them. They might have been bleeding. And I was in my dorm. Someone died. A young lady died. I saw her. I knew her. And she had an abortion and she died. So I wanted to just share with you just my experience, my unique experience, just observing the changes that have happened in this world. And perhaps there's another time that we can talk more about it. If you have any comments, please leave them. And appreciate you following me and listening. You have a beautiful day now. Abiwa, Queen Mother of the Universe, humbly.